And when you stare into the dark, I hope you see the light.
Market cap is $2.168 trillion. And now the market, oh, it went to zero. Yeah! Woo! You guys having fun yet? Are you scared? Are you scared? Did Trump dump on you? Did Argentina sell you their bags? Man, what a time to be alive. I don't know about you, but I feel like I gotta do a mandatory roll call. Who sold today? Who sold today? Who bought more altcoins? Who bought more Melania token? Man, just do a wellness check on yourself. Do you guys feel the fear? Has it set in? Because people are pissed. And all I gotta say is I hope you had your fun. I hope you had your fun. This cycle is over. We're done. It's dead. Worst bull run ever. Look at what this meme coin driven market has done to the alts. How are we going to recover? What do we need to keep our eye on? I think it's time to check in with the charts. Do ourselves a favor. Let's get technical for a bit. I'm going to do a large amount of altcoin coverage today. We're going to look at practically every major altcoin that I have on my crypto watch list. I'm just going to do a simple analysis. We're going to look at the levels. We're going to figure out where we should be looking for reversals, among other things. So let's start back with Bitcoin, and we got as low as 93,000, still in the falling wedge pattern. And look, we still have another higher low. One thing I wanted to point out was that we're finally trading below the 100-day simple moving average for the first time since back here in October of 2024 and the months prior to that. We held the bottom of this bullish pennant that we covered last week, but now we're breaking below the structure and actually starting to regard it as resistance. And another thing to consider is that we have not touched the 21-week simple moving average since back here once again in October of last year. Now things could get very scary, and if this breakdown does occur and the fear continues to mount and we have another shakeout or a call for the cycle top and people just sell altogether, institutions even are unloading their Bitcoin, then common retrace levels suggests that we could get anywhere from 86,500 to 382 retrace. The 50% fib retrace would be 79.5k, potentially all the way down to the 618, which would actually have us testing these old resistances back here in March, April, May. And once we broke out of this bull flag and experienced true price discovery, we actually didn't retest and regard these resistances, the 71k, 72k region, as support on a significant time scale. I also just want to make it abundantly clear that even if we break down and try to flip this old resistance region into new support, we are still very much in a macro uptrend, and this bull cycle, at least for Bitcoin, is not in jeopardy and not really even close. We have common retraces all the time. Right now we are stalling at newfound highs, and we want to not only see the weekly candle close above that bullish pennant, but we really right now we're just seeing this falling wedge hold. We can get a daily candle close above it and then go and try to retest, take another stab at 98.3 again. This bullish flag is still holding even if we spend more time down here. I think until we get a true daily candle close below, I'd say 90K roughly. And at that point, we could just capitulate down to this value area, but you would want to also see a retest of the bottom of the channel, because it's not about the breakdown, it's about the follow through you get after the breakdown. So even if we have another scary wick like we did here, this bullish flag is still okay. Ethereum, it's also incredibly simple. It's all about 3,600 being regarded as resistance throughout the entirety of this current cycle. 1, 2, 3 breakout attempts. Every time we had a fake out, then we broke back down, this time testing as resistance, this time not even enough demand to push it back up there, and we also tested it as resistance in late January. This channel is holding strong, and that's gonna be the major area to watch, is 3,600. You could say that during this wick all we did was touch the bottom of the uptrending channel and also back test the breakout of this triangle pattern, but we're starting to continue to butt up against these lower highs, this macro downtrend. The macro uptrend is still holding even today. Get above 2,800, you move to the top close to 4K. When you're above 2,800, 3K, you have grounds to be bullish for a move up. When you're below it, you have grounds to drop down to 2,200. Right now we're holding this trend line and sitting above the 100-week simple moving average. What I was sizing up and praying for was an inverse head and shoulders, with 2,800 being the right shoulder. When the price would come down and get bought up, it would be the buy signal to start to layer in heavily into ETH for its eventual price discovery breakout. But right now we are under that level, and when we're under it, lots of room for a downside. When we're above it, lots of room for upside. This is the key level to watch. Aave holding the 21-week moving average, but below that key level of $258. From the low to high, we've already hit a 618 retracement, perfectly bouncing off the 200-day simple moving average. And to keep things really simply, you gotta hold this 0.5 fib retracement level, the 236 price point, or you'll probably just come back down to the 200-day moving average and the 618 retrace that $198 level. For Cardano, it's all about the $1 level. Such a massive psychological price that you held back here, which pushed you up higher. Now we've officially fake broken out above it twice. We're even getting a rejection of 78 cents, these highs back here. In my opinion, if you don't hold the top of this uptrending channel, then you're going to come down probably to the heart line, and the extreme value areas would be this 42 cent region, which you can see is very discernible. Support, resistance, 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 support, resistance. Once we broke out, we never came down to solidify it as support. Here's Ape Coin on the weekly, and after an insane run up to end 2024, we've fallen all the way back down to the lows, creating a slightly higher low. And while we're struggling to remain stable above this 66 cent region, the supports back here that form this inverse head and shoulders that kind of kicked off this run we're probably gonna range for a bit, or we will just range up here if we cannot get back above this more macro uptrend. For Cosmos token, we've come down to this historical demand zone where we got bought back up and put it in support before the massive run up in 2021. Now we're attempting to hold this macro uptrend. The most important level I have drawn for Cosmos is going to be this $6.48 region. If we can hold here and break out of this midterm downtrend, potentially pushing higher to come and test this level, hopefully breaking back above it once again. On the RSI, we're starting to bullishly diverge and create more strength on a significant time scale. So let's see if we can hold here and push higher, eventually coming up into this red box region in time. Avalanche is a pretty interesting chart because we have this massive range from 20 bucks up to 53 bucks. And here we're attempting to actually put the trend line, this macro downtrend that we've been in for many years, attempting to flip it and confirm that a new uptrend has been established for Avalanche. The upside from the bottom of this range to the top is pretty significant, roughly around 130 to 150%. And what will be interesting to see is if Avalanche can just remain stable here, because back here on the daily RSI, when we put in this bullish divergence, it helped get us to the top of the range. So I'm curious to see if we can do something similar right here, maybe even coming back down to oversold territory and holding, allowing us to muster enough juice to push higher back to the top of the range. For Axie Infinity Coin, we are holding these lows at $4.06, struggling with the heart line of this downtrending channel, nowhere near confirming or establishing a new uptrend. But if we can get back above the heart line, even just to test the top of this channel, it's roughly about 40% upside. Bitcoin Cash, we've fallen below this historical support and resistance purple box region, actually breaking below this midterm uptrend, holding the top of the ascending triangle. These two paths indicate us breaking either back above and coming to garner this purple box region as support in hopes to push higher, or just rejecting and coming back down to further consolidate. BigTime coin has been a big time disappointment, but we are putting in on the weekly potential bullish divergence. Maybe we bounce here, come test the downtrending line once again. Binance Coin actually showing signs of strength, especially with this wicking behavior on the weekly, holding this uptrend. The most concerning thing you have is this hidden bearish divergence on the weekly here. But if we can get above old all-time high for long enough, it does seem inevitable that we will experience price discovery, likely coming to touch that $1,000 psychological price point in time. Compound, also different from a lot of coins right now, where it's showing quite a bit of strength. We're actually flipping this down-sloping resistance line into new support. Upside from here just to the next level is going to be around 65%. We're also just continuing to build strength on significant time scales. So simply just holding right here would do wonders and prove that this asset is ready to mark up once again. Dash Coin broke out of the wedge, coming as high as 72 bucks. Now we've fallen all the way back down and wicked to touch the top of the wedge. We are also putting in bullish divergence on the daily, So we'll see if we can come back up to 34 bucks and potentially get above it once again. Doge is starting to regard this 20 cent to 22 cent area as support finally, after rejecting it here back in March. I think it'd be completely fine to spend more time near the 22 cent area. As long as we hold it as support, this uptrend should hold and Doge should push further, maybe topping out at around $1 later in the cycle. Polkadot is sitting right here at the downsloping trend line, trying to once again regard it as support. This purple box region is definitely no joke of an area, so if we hold here, there could definitely be tons of sell orders waiting. The strength on the weekly RSI is building, so as long as Bitcoin remains strong, I could definitely see us coming back up to touch $6.10 again, but tons of work to do nonetheless to get above the key level that I have as the major line in the sand to eventually come back to these old price points from back in 2021. Filecoin is attempting to hold this higher low green box demand region, successfully holding here, and it makes sense for us to come up to $5, potentially as high as $7 in the midterm. But these resistance zones are very significant, so we have a lot of work to do if we want to see this price push above and eventually move up to the $15 area. HBAR is slowly been bleeding out like the rest of the altcoin space after getting as high as around 40 cents. It never touched 15 cents as support, definitely didn't even get close to regarding this old major resistance zone either. We are getting close to oversold once again on the daily, so it'll be interesting to see if HBAR cannot even come back down to the 15 cent area. It will signify how much demand there truly is for this token. Kyber Network has to hold this 40 cent region. Doing so could allow us to come back up and tap this downtrend line once again. Chainlink has been showing tons of strength. We finally broke the macro downtrend, and now this recent wick actually came to backtest it and flip it. We seem to be forming yet another wedge here, so let's see if we hold the bottom of the wedge and continue this uptrend. Shiba Inu has wicked into the macro uptrend twice now. The price we're hovering just below right now is pretty significant historically, especially back here. So it would be nice to see Shiba get above it, hold it as support, kind of like it did in September and October, and then move higher to the top of the next range. If we're looking at Solana, this purple box region, we've been attempting to turn it into support, whereas it's been resistance previously and resistance back here before sending Solana into its bear market. And with this major sell-off that just occurred, all we've really done outside of break below 174 is attempt to come and flip this midterm downtrend line. So we might come a little bit lower, or we might just get bought up as Solana is now getting closer and closer to oversold on the daily. Eventually you do want to see it get back above 175 and consolidate further, because rejecting from here, as shown in the past, could send price much further down, as far down as 117. XRP has basically just been consolidating, reaccumulating between $2 and $3.31. It looks like we did flip this old resistance area into potential new support. The strength in XRP is definitely apparent. eventually we're looking to get above 331 and either weekly or daily candle close above there, and then that would allow it to experience its true price discovery after being suppressed for so many years. I'm going to end the video right there. As you know, there is quite literally millions of coins to cover. These are just the few I wanted to share today. If you have any coins or stocks you are curious about getting some analysis on, feel free to leave a comment. Until then, be well, stay vigilant. Let's continue to learn from these markets.